Good morning everyone, and welcome back to another trade recap video where I go through all the trades that I took during the day, and I hope you guys can take something away from this video. Anyways, going into the day, I initially had a bullish bias during pre-market hours as we've just swept into this 1 hour, 4 hour, and 15-minute fair value gap resting below this liquidity zone, and then we ended up spiking upwards, indicating that we had some sort of support level. My first entry point was actually this 1 minute fair value gap inversion, targeting this unfilled 1 minute gap resting above. And then we actually got into this position at this 30-second fair value gap that was formed. This trade was valid for me because before we tapped into this 1 minute fair value gap, we actually came back down and tapped into my entry point before we tapped into that resistance zone, which could possibly stop me out, and I would have just break even by then. So I got into the trade and it actually played out, which is nice. The second position that I took was actually off of this 1 minute fair value gap that I saw strong resistance at. And so we inverse this 30-second fair value gap right over here. Right over here. And then I entered off of this 30-second fair value gap that was formed, hoping to target these lows before we got any move upwards towards this untapped 5-minute fair value gap resting above. And this trade was valid for me because we actually didn't end up sweeping this low before we got to my limit order. So yeah, that's just quite unfortunate, because if we swept this low before we reached my limit order, then I wouldn't have entered the trade because we already swept the zone of liquidity and we could potentially sweep upwards and going towards the 5-minute unfilled gap. That was the main target for pre-market session. And then the third position that I took was actually off of this 30-second fair value gap holding multiple times. We got a sharp clear displacement upwards, clearing this 1 minute fair value gap, inversing it. And then we actually got a 30-second fair value gap that was formed, and I took that point of entry, setting my stop loss right below this low, targeting the unfilled 5-minute gap resting above. But I actually ended up selling a bit early, right at this 1 minute fair value gap, because I didn't want to be greedy, and I'm honestly just going for base hits, but I know it bites me in the ass in case it does go up and hit my TP. But at the end of the day, I just want my piece of the pie, and yeah. So those are all the trades that I took during the day. I hope you guys have learned something from this video, and if not, dislike the video. Yeah, that wraps it up, and so peace.